I really like the name here. Frank Tank says this team is set. And let's see what happens to the Raiders, though, as it comes to trade deadline. Maybe we can bring Crosby home. Look, they're set. They're not going to do it. Like I said, they're not going to do any move. But I tell you what, if the Raiders do stink, oh my God! We're talking about if they're stinking and they're thinking about putting him on a trade deadline. I would at least make a call to figure just to see what it would take. I know the Lions probably want to do it because it'd be way too much. But you have to make a phone call. You would have to.
Yeah. Absolutely. But for me, the Raiders have made it clear they're not competing this year because they didn't put themselves in the quarterback stake. Like, they're going to give Aiden O'Connell and is it not Stidham still there, the other guy? Anyhow, they didn't try and enter the quarterback stakes this year. So for me, actually, if you're looking for a team whose record might be bad, then the Raiders could be up there. But I really like Antonio Pierce and what he's doing there.
Yeah.
But they quite clearly punted on quarterback this year. So I don't think, even if they're doing bad, I don't think they're going to fire sale people because I think they've deliberately made a choice to go through this year and like, yeah, we're probably not going to be the best team, but we've got a load of great guys. They're building at the moment. They're not going to want to give away the star unless someone overpays. Unless someone overpays highly for him, I think they're just happy with this is going to be a year where we just get guys in, we develop this roster. He's a lot of holes to fill, but we're going to keep our centerpiece guys because next year, that's when we're going to
get
really
the quarterback too. They'll get the quarterback next year, and then the team will be pretty much set because I think they like Pierce over there. He looks like a good coach. Lisa De Lorenzo, #Lions. If the Lions do not get an edge player this year, who's the prospect they target next year's draft? Anthony.
I mean, this is kind of giving away my show because I'm doing a college Q&A tonight where I've answered this, but the one I would like them to go for Nick Scowerton from Texas A&M. He played at Purdue last year. I was a massive fan of George Karlaftis when he came out of the Boilermakers program. They make really good edge rushers. He's going to have a great season in the SEC, and he might be in a position where we can pick him because James Pierce, the overall guy, he's like a number 1 overall pick. He's going to be way out of the equation. But Nick Scowerton would be the one I'd be looking at highly to get for us.
Frank the Tank says, it's okay if we give up 3 first-round picks. We're going to be picking it in the 30s the next 3 years. 32nd the next 3 years. Yeah. That would be
that is fine, but then the only thing is that you do that per round, so your first pick's going to be at pick 64. So it's like, even without, it's like you're not getting top 50 picks from then onwards. So I don't know.
I just because of this #FToBears, before I get to this question, I seen there's Bears fans out there. They did every position on an NFL team, and like, so, from kicker all the way to long snapper to offensive tackle and all that stuff. And they did it for the NFC North. Who's the best at every position? This Bears fans literally at every position for the Bears, except for one that was like half Lions. There's some delusion going on over there.
Yeah. I want to beat them so badly this year.
I'm sure you guys seen that. I just started laughing. I said, what is going on with their fan base is really juicing it. Now
they've started trying to say the O-line's better than ours as well, like their young O-line, which it clearly isn't.
Their quarterback is better than ours. Their whole offensive line is better than ours. Their running backs better than ours. So, their tight ends are better than everything.
They're crazy. I did, however, see. I saw ESPN had done something. They ranked the quarterbacks in the NFC North, and Goff was top. So at least somebody's listening to us because he quite clearly is the best quarterback in the NFC North.
Brother says, #FToBears. Is Amik one of our game #1 starters? I love the fire this kid has. You say he's going to be a nickel, though. He's going to be the nickel, and that's going to be on the field quite a bit. I think he's going to be the nickel unless Brian Branch. I don't know how it's going to be.
Yeah, this is where I have issues with this. Like, Brian Branch is going to be one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the NFL, period. He is the best secondary player on this team by some distance. Like, there's Brian Branch and then everybody else is way down here right now. We drafted him to play that nickel position very specifically. He's the expert there. I want him to play there. He's our young man We play him there where he's good. We've got 2 young safeties who we want to play and develop there because that's best for us long term. He will be for me, he's going to be the backup, and that's what he should be for us.
It depends how they use Brian Branch. That's because I think.
Oh
like,
yeah, this
he's going to be like if he is playing safety, then Amik would be in at nickel corner or something like that. So I really don't know like how much time each player is going to have on the field. There's going to be different amounts, but you're right. Brian Branch is going to be on the field as much as humanly possible.
Yeah,
he's like an Aiden Hutchinson type of player that he's like 98% on the field.
You don't take him off.
Yeah,
purely and simply, you do not take him off the field unless he's gassed and needs needs one drive of a rest or something like that. That is it.
So when I say number 1 starter, let's do 1.5 because he'll be on the field on game days. Not every time though, maybe in different spots. So I don't know if you want to it's hard to tell how they do their DBs because a lot of these guys are going to be on the field and it's going to just be different amount of times. So I'll say 1.5. I'll go 1.5. I think really the only people we know is guaranteed going to be on there for the secondary is Terrion, Arnold, Carlton Davis, and Brian Branch. They're always going to be on the field unless there's those are the 3 guys in the secondary that will always be on the field. The other guys, it's going to go back and forth. You'll see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Do you think that Barnes will make the roster? I personally think Rodriguez is better. Plus, we got Alex and Jack playing. Derrick Barnes definitely make it the roster. He was a starter last year. Derrick Barnes you keep them all. Jack Campbell, Malcolm Rodriguez, Derrick Barnes, Jalen Reeves-Maybin. Look, you've got to have all these. There's going to be injuries, and these players are going to have to play. So you keep all of them.
Exactly. So, Jack Campbell is your guy. He's your Alex Anzalone on this roster. Like, he's going to be him long term, but better. Barnes is one of the only few who can properly blitz from the linebacker position, who you can play around with a bit and do that. Like, Malcolm doesn't do that. Anzalone doesn't do that. Campbell doesn't really do that. You've got to have Barnes on your roster for the versatility it gives you and for that extra option to go after the quarterback. But I agree, you keep Malcolm. I love Malcolm, and I think they need to give Malcolm his reps this year. So between Jack, between Barnes, and between Malcolm, that's your young linebacker core for the next 5-6 years, potentially. Malcolm backing these 2 guys up. Hopefully these are going to be the ones for your long term. And when Anzalone's deal's done, Jack takes over from him. But I keep them all.
You keep them all.
Maybe he's just I'll keep JRM here, special teams and that, but he's not going to be what any of those other 3 can be. So you've got to keep your centerpiece guys for that.
Everyone talks starters, but depth is just as important because we know injuries are going to occur. And say Alex Anzalone does get injured and he's gone for 4 games. You got rid of Derrick Barnes, that really just hampers. So what you do is you just keep everybody, and that's the whole point. I don't know if they'll bring him back next year. That's something that we got to wait and see. But this year, Derrick Barnes is 100% on this team.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the reason we got to go to the NFC Championship game. Good old pick right there at the end. So, and he had a great year. So 100% he's on this roster. Long term, I don't know. I know. Let's see. Malcolm is the low man on the poll. When your own coach points out your 6 reps at a game and the way he did, he's behind Betts at this point. Malcolm Rodriguez. Betts is an edge more. Malcolm Rodriguez, he's right now just in rotation for linebacker. He's not getting as much reps as the rest of the linebackers, but I don't think one really hurts the other.
No, Rodrigo's better at special teams than most as well, so that alone will keep him on the roster.
Yeah, and he plays offense too.
He plays fullback, which
and he's cheap linebacker, 6th-round pick, so of course going to be in the roster.
But it's like you saw, Rodriguez has so
interception in San Francisco.
He should be playing more. The first time he really saw the field last year was against Tampa when we brought him in because of injury. And I remember it because he came in on a 1st down on a drive, and all 3 plays the defense made on that drive were made by Rodrigo. Like, he's been sat on the bench all year. He comes in, he makes plays. He is a special player. like for where we got him from and that, and he is going to be critical to our rotation. I just Emrod to come into this rotation because of injury more than any of these other depth guys like there, So you've got to keep him here. He offers a ton to this team. Like Betts offers nothing right now. Betts has done nothing for this team. He is just someone who's had a good start of an off season. Rodrigo's played well on special teams. He's played a lot of snaps of starting at linebacker. He plays at fullback. He offers so much more than a Betts does.
I don't think it hurts the other at all. I think they're going to stay with the same linebackers, and I don't think Malcolm Rodriguez-Ross or Matthew Betts has anything to do with anything. If you're looking at to get an extra player or an extra roster spot, probably look at will they go 5 or 6 wide receivers. If they go 5,
I think that's the thing.
It's more of I don't think I want to be worried about when it comes to them too, because Malcolm Rodriguez, he's locked in because he is great at special teams as well. So, and same with Jalen Reeves-Maybin, and he has multiple facets. So I don't think one even affects the other at all. They both could make the team. I mean, I don't think it affects. Frank says, I see Arnold playing slot before playing outside. Well, this one's already off because he's already locked in as the number 2 corner right now. He's outside corner. It's what he did in OTAs and minicamp. He's not playing slot. He is the outside corner. Terrion Arnold, number 2, opposite of Carlton Davis. You look at the depth chart. He's sitting there at number 2 as well as an outside. So he's locked in already. He's not going to play. Maybe they'll do a special defensive schemes in games, but he is our number 2. That's it.
I know Bama did use him there more against certain schemes.
Yeah,
but for the most part,
certain.
Like he had I think it was 2 or 3 games where he played primarily there, but I think that depends on the sort of opposition that you're up against. If there's a certain player that you want to put him in on, then you can move him in there. But for the most part, we need a physical, dominant outside corner, and that's what we've drafted him to be in the long term. And we've got other guys who can play the slot, so. But yeah, if they feel there's a certain guy they need to put him in there against, they'll not be shy to do that. They'll play the matchups as they do. But overall, he'll stay outside, I reckon.
Boss Up Out Podcast, Detroit Lions. That's Curtis Steele. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, Boss Up Ball Out Podcast, for my man right there, Curtis Steele, as they're beginning their new YouTube channel, and they're going to be talking Lions. We love it. How was your vacation last week? Amazing. It was good. It was great. I love it. Who is the starting safeties? Branch and Iffy. I think Kirby took a step back last year. So this is interesting, D-Ray. For Brian Branch, he's going to be on the field. We don't know if he's going to play some safety, but I think it's primarily nickel. But if you talk about 2 safeties, I'll probably go with Kirby and Ifutu Melifonwu as primary, but there's going to be overlapping for this position and nickel corner. Even Brian Branch could play linebacker too, so you guys just see him all over the field. But primarily maybe Kirby and Iffy. What do you think?
I'm in agreement. It is better for the future of this team if Kirby and Iffy come good this year. If he's in a contract year. So you want to see what you have in him. Like, was the last half of last season a constant and not a blip? Because if it's not a constant and it is a blip, then of course you get rid of him after this year. And with